welcome to the SuperWorld show. I'm Nate McCrory. I'm here with co-founder Rich Latlakar as usual, and we're just going to have a discussion with us today because, I don't know, we just want you to get to know us better. So, Rich, how you doing, man?
Great. Yeah, it's, awesome week. Lots going on. We might have a guest who's going to drop in. We're just coordinating that, trying to figure out timing here. But we are getting involved in a couple of activities happening soon. So this weekend is DigiCon on Saturday. So excited about that. Nate and I are going to be speaking. We're going to have a big virtual banquet hall there for all SuperWorld community. So if anyone's listening to this, wants to learn what's happening in the world of NFTs, come and check us out. It's free tickets.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of cool info for you. I think it's from the creators of Splinterlands, right? So like that's pretty exciting. I know a lot of people are super into that right now. We're gonna have a room. We're gonna be talking NFTs, all kind of fun stuff. So definitely come out. We might, as Rich said, we might have a guest popping in. They'll be wanting to talk about, I think it's called Solar Punk Fest, right?
Yep.
I have their website somewhere, and we can announce that at the end. But that's a possibility. But we'll keep it open. I want to talk about some of the other stuff that we're doing. Can we discuss our inner circle?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. There's a lot of artists that want to get involved in our community right now. And we finally have a nice, easy way for people to do that. And it's something I'm super excited about. We have something called the Inner Circle at SuperWorld, where artists are going to be able to, and correct me if I'm wrong.
By the way, Angel's here. So
never mind.
Hey, we'll talk about that in a second.
We'll get to that later.
Joined in. Angel, hey, how's it going? There you go. I think her audio is connecting. I think you're in.
All right, I'm in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound good. How are you?
Hey, there you go. I think your screen
is
sideways somehow.
Oh, that sucks because I'm in Mexico and the computer has gone kaput, maybe because of the moisture. But if I do it this way, it's just weird.
But this is good. I mean, you look fine. You look great.
Yeah.
This is
you're in Mexico. Huh? What part of Mexico are you in?
Acapulco.
Very cool.
Nice.
I've never been, but I want to. Is it pretty humid there, you said?
Oh my God. It's very, very humid. You get used to it, but I'm inside right now as long as you're outdoors and by the beach, but I'm indoors right now and I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I used to live in Mexico City and I lived in Playa del Carmen for a while. Love it down there. And I think I went to Acapulco a really long time ago. And there's so many cool spots in Mexico. That's what I love about it. There's like a lot of hidden stuff. Even like I remember I have a friend who just came from some island that I'd never heard about. He was like, dude, this place is like the next Tulum. I forget what it is. I have to ask him, but I'm going there, man. That's the spot.
Yeah, don't tell anybody about it.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like that movie, The Beach, when like people come back from Thailand, they've discovered an island. This stuff is in Mexico. There's like places that just, super cool.
Yeah. It's so cool. There's those places where people get mad if you talk about them because like they know everybody's going to come and spoil it.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm glad to hear.
I'm Nate, by the way. Nice to meet you. If you want to introduce yourself for the podcast, that way I don't get anything wrong.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Angel Robinson. I am the founder of Res Productions and the organizer for Solar Punk Summit. It's our first ever. It's our premier event. What else do you need to know?
Tell us about it. What's your why behind it? I know you have a really big why on a lot of the stuff that you do, and and we can talk about how you and I know each other as well from Future Frontiers and other things. So love to hear that.
Yeah, for sure. I have recently, back in 2020, when our whole world shifted, one of the things that became really present for me is how much how much our perspective of life is all about the stories we tell ourselves. And there are a lot of really negative stories out there in the world. When you think about the future, even in our movies, you see a lot of dystopian futures. It's always very dark, very gritty. And then everything around us is so scary. I really want to do something that shines light on the beauty that is possible, not even in the future, but for right now, so that we can manifest better things in the world, you know, from our optimism and our creativity and all the things that are inspired when you have the right stimuli in front of you. So Solar Punk Summit is about bringing people together in a space, sharing what they're working on, what they're doing, what their visions are for the future with people, so they know, so they become more aware of what actually is happening outside of, you know, their, you know, immediate experience of the world. There's a lot of really beautiful, good stuff, and so that's what this is all about.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, you're right. There's like people get caught in their own echo chamber almost, and they forget about all the possibilities and the different outcomes and different walks of life that people are experiencing. I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. Is a lot of this going to revolve around kind of the art community?
I love the edge zone. That idea of the edge zone is you get together lots of different types of people, and so there will be a lot of artists there, a lot of healers there, and I also want to bring in innovators and entrepreneurs, thinkers, you know, ideas people. That's part of why Krish is speaking there, is so that we can go ahead and show the menu of items that are existing right now that help us get to this like beautiful vision of the future. So it'll be a pretty diverse crowd.
Yeah, we're excited. I'm excited to see Rich at any event, really. I want to get into that. Well, that's why I want to get into this. He's an amazing dude. And I want to get into how you two know each other. Because, you know, that's always what interests me most. It seems like himself, and then I'm sure you too, like everybody I meet that he knows, they all have these wild stories.
Yeah, we met at Future Frontiers. We have a number of friends in common who are the organizers of that event. I think that's where we first met, right, Angel?
Yeah, that's where we first met. It's really interesting because Future Frontiers is really what sparked this whole idea of me even doing events at all. And being in a room with other innovators and entrepreneurs and stepping into this greater awareness of the space around me and listening to all of you talk about what you were doing, and it really, really inspired me. And we connected probably not at Future Frontiers, but after Future Frontiers, or before, or maybe right before the first one via email, just like,
or maybe at the party somehow. I don't, you know, there was a pretty awesome party. Yeah, I mean, you know, I definitely saw you on the, you know, in the organization. Like, you know, I was speaking at Future Frontiers, so I kind of interfaced with a lot of the organizers, right? And so I kind of knew you, but you're right. I think we kind of got to know each other after that, right?
Connecting after that, and then really connecting on another idea, another project that I'm working on. That's where I think we really got a sense of each other, is in that conversation, talking about our vision for a video game that some developer friends of mine are building out, and yeah. That's where that conversation really gave me a sense of you, and I would assume also gave you a sense of who I am. And now here we are, collaborating, which is exactly the whole point in this.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this space who are surprised to find so many people that are like morally aligned with them and their causes, and kind of share the same heart space. I think it's really rare in other things, but it seems to be this renaissance in the tech space and crypto space also somewhat, where like there's a lot of community development.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think people would be surprised, and I'm always surprised every time I go to another event. I have an idea in my head of what I'm going to experience, and then I get there and I look into the eyes of the people and I hear them talking, and I see that we're really aligned. People really are operating from this idea of creating the infrastructure and the tools for a better world. Like, that's the reason that they're doing this. It's not just about making money, and energy exchange is important, but to see people who are figuring out ways to really integrate that, like a conscious capitalism, right? How can I improve the world and create a flow of energy? And you don't expect to find that, especially in the more tech oriented spaces as much.
Yeah.
It really is there. It's really present there.
Yeah, a lot of people in tech and business and finance, I think we're seeing this thing where people kind of have success and make some money and they go like, well, what's next? Like, what am I actually doing on Earth? What is real? And that's where we see a lot of the stuff happening now in this space where, you have like a lot of successful people that were coming from conventional areas of like quote unquote success. And now they just want deeper meaning, kind of combining everything.
Yeah. I see that in everyone. I see people growing. I see people getting, when it's like, when you have a certain amount of success, and whether it be on a spiritual level or, like a material level, once you do that, you just want to help others to get there. You want to help others experience the joy and the security that you're experiencing. At least that is so prevalent in the communities that I've been in. Which is really heartening. It's really heartening because that's the way forward. That's how we, shape the world. I hate to use that because I don't want to shape it into anything, but that's really how we allow for a more abundant and more embodied experience of this life.
I would love to hear more about like your background, like how you kind of got on this journey, and where did you, kind of realize these kinds of things were very important to you. Where did that come from, do you think?
I guess I would say that I've always been who I am, but an awareness of the world around me that began probably with the Ron Paul campaign. Just hearing someone speaking his, truth and his, speaking from his heart about what he believes is, creates a more abundant world, and then beyond that, a more just world in terms of how we interact with people, how we interact with the world, considering what what the responses will be to our actions. That got me really thinking, like actually doing some sense making of the world in a deeper way and asking the right questions to getting the right answers. So I would say that's part of my greater awareness in terms of coming to the space of like entrepreneurialism, and that would definitely be Future Frontiers. So Ron Paul led to this deep, many years dive into economics and philosophy, and then once you get into philosophy and you start thinking about thinking, there's a lot of that. There was a lot of that, and then Future Frontiers really just allowed me in my own personal life to start to become more embodied, to have purpose, to experience that value in human interactions and coming together and celebrating together, and the magical connections that are made because of that. And I thought to myself, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do with my life. I want to get those people and those people in a room together. And then I want those people to go off into the world and create something beautiful. And even before that, I want to get those people in a room together so they can experience each other, be here now, and just enjoy. So those are the two, I would say those are like the two like really pivotal moments in my life, doing Future Frontiers, and then also like everything that, resulted from hearing Ron Paul speak for the first time.
That's awesome. Yeah,
there's a lot of interesting things. Like you wouldn't expect to learn something from some people, and then you go there and you're like, oh, this person just shifted my entire outlook on life. It's interesting. I think a lot of us don't expect like a politician or somebody in economics to kind of affect our entire outlook on things. But it's interesting, like the path that some of us set down on without, like we set out on these paths without really realizing we're on them sometimes. And then we analyze our own story a little bit, like the narrative self kind of takes a look at what's going on a little bit. And we're usually surprised to find out like our own trail. It's kind of cool. I still don't know how I got into a lot of this stuff. I mean, it's kind of a blur. So like, is that the legacy that you want to leave from this event? Is that for that to have the same spirit that inspired you, so that that's getting into other people?
Yeah, that's part of it. But like I said, a really big part of it is just bringing into full resolution and an image of what's possible. You know, we have lots of movies, and we have like this cyberpunk movement or artist movement, which is, you know, I love it. I love all kinds of sci-fi, and it's fun. But I think it's time for something that everyone can say yes to, and that's what's cool about the solar punk artist culture. Is it's diverse and it's beautiful. And no matter where you are in the political spectrum, you can look at something within that world of solar punk and go, yes, yeah, like of course I want that for my life. And then we can show you, and like the whole point in this is to really have a clear vision of what you want. And what we do is say, well, here is how you get there. Here are those things that you need. So I want to do this every year, maybe more than a couple of times a year. We'll see. I'm very ambitious in that way. I want to do it all, but definitely I want to come together and have this be a time where we celebrate the world, celebrate life, create new stories that integrate all of our different parts as a whole. And because this is really an emergent culture, and it's not super clearly defined yet, I like the idea of having Solar Punk Summit be a place where we can create some of that definition, where we can own it and make sure that it at least for our part in it, that there is a place where people respect, you know, sovereignty, the individual, and are really curious about solutions, curious about how you, you know, integrate with other people, interrelate with other people. That's what we'll bring to the solar punk movement, and maybe we can set the framework for what it develops into as it is emerging.
There's a lot of these movements going on right now. I think a lot of people realize the world's coming out of hibernation a little bit, and we all have kind of an opportunity to spread our message in a positive way that's somewhat objective, and we're not like just telling people what to think or what to do. We're kind of like helping educate people a little bit, and also giving them the ability to choose like positive options, you know.
Mm-hmm. And educating ourselves. I very much look at this as like experiential for me. I didn't bring all these people together and get to hear lots of different ideas and figure out how I can step into it. Like regenerative culture, that hasn't been something that has really been at the fore. You know, looked into economics and philosophy, and now regenerative culture is really starting to be, especially with everything that just happened in Texas, like with the whole snowpocalypse, and even last year with, you know, with our food chain supply being in question, and not really, you know, having that moment of panic of like, how will I feed myself? So it becomes more clear that, well, we need to really, like in our individual lives, or rather, I choose in my individual life to be more aware of how we can create resilient communities, of how we can work with the cycles of the earth, how we can create solutions that create resilience in our infrastructure, in our money systems, all of those things. So much of this will be a discovery for me, as it is for everyone else who's there.
Well, it's cool.
I've had a question. Just one thought on this is, you know, you've mentioned a few different kind of topics, you know, and thanks again for the opportunity to come and, you know, spread what we're doing, which at SuperWorld, it's, you know, our vision is all pretty aligned with what you're doing, which is, you know, how do we help anyone create a better world, right? That's kind of what we're about, is improving the world, improving and allowing users to, you know, allowing our, you know, super citizens, as we call them, to be able to create and empower them. And I'm curious as to, you know, who else is speaking, and if you can go into a little bit about some of those topics, and, you know, as we are helping you kind of get more people to know about this movement, if you'd like, maybe share who else is kind of coming, and what kind of messages are they going to be talking about?
Sure. So I'm really excited about James Ehrlich. He is the founder of Region Villages, and they are so solar punk. They were solar punk before solar punk was a thing. They're actually building out the villages and doing the things, showing us how you actually make this a reality. And so he'll be speaking on what they're doing. Josh Witten of Make Soil will be there, and it's all about our waste. He'll be talking about our waste and how we throw things away, and we don't really think about how we can use these things to create sustainability, to create use the cycle of food and waste so that we still have more in the future. Who else is? I have to think of all the Karen-ism, who's a futurist, who I love listening to. She's really, really intelligent, and she holds this great balance of the masculine and the feminine, in thinking very rationally about things, but holding the heart and the vision and being very optimistic. So I love the idea of her coming and speaking to people. Who else is going to be there? I'm trying to think. We have, it's so many people that John Bush of Freedom Cells, and he's, a local organizer who's working on building out these small pods of support around the country. So that's cool. Krish obviously will be there and talking about virtual worlds. Oh, Robin Arnault on Andromeda will be there, and I'm really excited about that because he's talking about, they have Sound Self, which is a technodelic, and it's the ability for you to reach altered states of consciousness without, having to ingest anything, right? To be a little more in control of that experience, but to really explore consciousness in a safe and comfortable way, I think. And so he's one of the people who will be speaking. Do you want me to go on? I just go on and on and on.
That's actually really interesting.
You have a lot of cool people. Rebecca
that last
Powers.
Interesting. A lot of people want to experience those things without having to risk anything. So I think that's really cool that people are starting to offer that. A lot of us don't want to pull blocks out of that like mental Jenga tower that we've built with our experiences, and I'm personally afraid to topple any kind of stability I've created in my own mind by just kind of exploring it too much. So if you can do that, like you said, without ingesting anything, I think it's a very cool way to go about it, for sure. People have been waiting for that forever.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to stop, to put a stop on something when you feel like you need to, and to integrate a little bit, and then, go slowly. And he's working a lot on therapeutic technologies to really help people. And other people who are working in the gaming space. I really love the idea of how many people are trying to gamify life, allow people to go on their hero's journey. There's without, and take away some of that risk and some of that fear, but allow you to explore and grow through, the gamified experience. So yeah, there I can see, and of course all of the healers. There's so many healers there.
That part's cool too, because we've been talking to a lot of people in tech about kind of that natural, the natural reaction to all the darkness that tech creates, the sleeplessness, the staring at screens. We do see so much mindfulness coming out of this, and people need these healers right now, I think, in some ways, to at least inspire them to think outside of their own box and nothing else. I mean, even if they're not personally, physically affected in some way. At least the thought process is good to plant the seed with people.
Mm-hmm. And it's really helpful, right, to think about your consciousness, to think about the ways you can calm the mind, the ways you can step into presence, the ways you can enjoy life a little bit more and reach many of your goals, and the ways you can take care of your body and optimize the human experience. I think Dr. Dan Engel will be there too, and he's really great talking about consciousness. And so not I think,
nice.
I know he's there.
Nice. I want to give a shout out to Matt McKibben, who's a good buddy of mine who I see on the speaker list from Decentranet. He's a really great, wonderful person, and he's doing a lot of stuff on the blockchain side, as well as with AMA and CBD space, and just a wonderful person all around. So I saw him on the list too. It's good. I'm looking forward to coming back and hanging out with a lot of my friends in Austin too. Celebrate Austin too. It's a great place to be.
Yeah, it seems like one of the cooler places to be right now.
It's this beautiful vortex of the most fascinating people doing the most fascinating things. There is a great energy in Texas. I'm not.
The comedians are moving there too, right? Like all these stand-up comedians are moving to Austin right now, following Joe Rogan there. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, JP Spears is here, right? I haven't met him yet. Maybe he'll come out to Solar Punk Summit. I'll send him an invite.
Yeah, maybe. That's the thing. Like we might have some cool surprise guests because of that whole movement.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get together a really great group of people who will. I mean, we get to spend 4 days together, doing all that learning and growing and discussions, having those discussions take place in a pretty cool container. We want to create a very solar punk vibe in this space. And then we're going to do all that, but we also just get to sit in connection with each other, which isn't something that a lot of people have had over this past year. And that takes a toll. And so we get to do this and be outdoors, and it's a 40-acre property. So there's
cool. Yeah, we need that so bad right now. Everybody's just dying to kind of connect with people. At least I am. I don't know. Me and Rich have talked, like, I think it was like Super Bowl or something. We were texting and you were just saying how it's hard to just find any social settings in general right now. And it's kind of sad that we've all been like kind of just like wanting to go out and have fun and experience other people, and you're just basically not allowed to. Or if you do let yourself do it, maybe there is some risk involved, or you're putting your family at risk or something. So it's nice to where there's an end in sight and there's events coming, and it's such a relief. I don't know, I'm sure I speak for everybody when I say that. It's just a relief.
Yeah.
But it's also crazy, like you said, there's all this mindfulness spreading. It's wild how already we're kind of forgetting that, maybe we should have a garden going, or maybe we should stock up supplies. People have already kind of forgotten. It's been less than a year.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. That's why community is helpful. If you like insert yourself into communities that are aware, we do things together so much more effectively than we do them, and we motivate each other. So finding your pod, finding out how to do that, how to reach out to the people that are aligned with you, and to create those communities is really something we want to focus on at Solar Punk Summit, and something that each of us should be thinking about in our lives, so that we don't forget and end up in the next I don't like using words like catastrophe. It's all
we want to keep it happy and positive. We don't want to like bring ourselves down, but I know what you're saying. I mean, we've got to be conscious of that. It's good to keep that memory alive without spreading fear, and just like, just be educated, but don't freak out, that whole thing. So that's what I like about your event, and events like that are kind of happening in the space right now. So I think it's really unique. Like we said, we do have a shorter show. Things are super busy at SuperWorld, as I'm sure they are with you too. So we'll kind of start wrapping it up. I wanted to give everybody a good opportunity to find you and your website and where to follow everything, so they can get updates, and just give you an opportunity to really promote yourself here.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate being able to come on the show and talk to you guys.
This is great. We'll do a longer one too, because this is really fun. We'll get back to it at some point soon, like maybe right before the event or something. So
we'll try to promote you and the speakers and stuff. So, let's do a really awesome kind of promotion of this, who you are, as well as everyone who's speaking, and Solar Punk, and like Nathan said, let's do a few things leading up to this, so we can get more and more people to know all the amazing things that you're doing. So
yes, beautiful, definitely. I appreciate that, and I like talking to you guys. So yes, if anyone is interested, all those interested should go to www.solarpunksummit.com. The event happens in April, from April 15th to the 18th. It's outdoors, it's camping, it's vibing, it's bonfires, it's discussions, it's keynote speeches, it's a festival, it's an expo and marketplace. It's all of the things that I think a lot of us have been craving in our lives. And it's quality. It's quality connections, really conscious connections, really here, really now, beautiful people. And so be part of the beauty, bring yourself out to Solar Funk Summit. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for making the time. I know you're traveling and you're in Mexico. I see the beautiful background, and you know, I'm really excited to be there next month, and you know, looking forward to more of these as you kind of grow and develop the brand, and you know, kind of continue on your other projects too. So thanks for taking the time out and sharing with us your vision and the journey that you're helping others to also kind of learn about. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you. And yeah, as usual, this has been the SuperWorld Show.